Because K-pop is a cultural phenomenon, and there's a ton of interest in the love lives of the genre's biggest stars. But there's always been a lot of secrecy about who K-pop singers are dating. Details about their private lives are rarely revealed, and there's pressure for them to appear romantically attainable. So when Jisoo from the massively popular group Blackpink recently confirmed she's dating a well-known South Korean actor, it made headlines around the world. So how do you feel about the pressure that's put on these celebs?
Well, I mean, my first, thought goes to One Direction. When One Direction was still together, Directioners, that's what they call themselves, the fans, actually were not super supportive of any one of these 5 boys at the time, having regular romantic relationships with whoever. In fact, it got so it got so sort of heated that many said that they would prefer that Harry Styles be with Louis Tomlinson. Like, that meant that there were no outsiders invading that little circle.
Yeah.
And the One Direction sort of environment would be intact. You don't have any interlopers. So this is not a new thing. It's happened ever since boy and girl bands, came on the scene. And I do think that with Jisoo and the Korean entertainment system, they are typically very, very private when it comes to their private lives. And so this was radical for Jisoo to be like, yeah, I have a boyfriend, and move on. And maybe this will open the door in the Korean system, in the idol system, and maybe for other people around in the Western entertainment system to be more forthcoming about living normal lives. They're human beings.
Yeah.
Let them live.
So I get that. And I mean, I want to live in that space. I want to be a person who can say, yeah, I have no judgment, date whoever you want to date, marry whoever you want to marry. And then I think about Tessa and Scott, and I was devastated. I really felt a lot of, I don't know, like I was invested in these two. And then so much so I watched the show, and I've interviewed them, and I sat there just being like, please love one another. And they don't. And that sucked. And I was sad for it. Listen,
Did it suck to the point, though, that you went online to Scott's wife and harassed her and targeted her? And because that happens, and it happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next level. Of course, you have a fantasy, you have stars you want to worship. But I mean, it's next level.
No, but I do think about, you're right, like I would never do that, but I think about country music that I love so much, and there is a real marketable thing that is love. Think of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
Yeah.
Think of Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. Even now in new country, you think of Maren Morris and Ryan Hurd. They're married and they market that, and there's a risk that comes with that, because I'll tell you, if Tim and Faith split, and if one of them does something nefarious to the other one, I'm out. I'm out so hard. And I would choose to not listen to that music, and I would choose to not watch them as they act together and whatever. I would be so devastated by that it would for sure push revenue down from my $10 record sale. They would not get that money. So I think there is a risk that comes even with saying, hey, I'm not available anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I think about my 11-year-old self who was convinced that I was marrying Brian Littrell from the Backstreet Boys.
Fair enough.
Wholly convinced. I carved a heart there. He is that cutie.
Oh my
I carved a heart because he had a heart condition, so I carved one, sent it to his fan club. Because I thought we were gonna get married. I was devastated when he met his wife on the set of As Long as I Love You.
Yeah.
Devastated. So when you talk about investment in marketing, I spent money on the concerts, the merch, the magazines, because I was convinced they made me believe that I was the future Mrs. Brian Littrell.
Oh. How about that, huh? Come on. Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.